Okay, here we are. The newest, biggest game of the Viking season tomorrow, 3:25 at the Purple Palace against the hated Green Bay Packers. Um, this is probably the biggest Vikings Packers game since maybe the 2015 game at the end of the season that decided the division. I know we had a pretty important one at the end of 2019 too, where we had a chance to still win the division, and we lost. But you know, certainly the biggest game between these two teams in a few years. Um, I believe we're favored. It's gone back and forth a little bit during the week. I think at the last I checked, I think we were very, very slight favorites. Um, and there's been all the trash talking that there always is during Packer week. I'm not dismissing the Packers in this game at all. I think it would be absolutely asinine for any Vikings fan to dismiss them. They started slow. I mean, I picked the Packers to win the division this year instead of Detroit. Everyone else was like still on this Detroit thing. I was picking Green Bay. Had a little bit of a slow start, but they're like 9-2 now. Their last 11, and the only two losses are to the Lions. So, now their victories have been not the most impressive collection of teams. They beat the Seahawks worse than we did a couple weeks ago, but they also lost their quarterback in that game. So who knows if what might have happened in that game. We didn't get to play Sam Howell for more than half the game. But yeah, I mean, I'm not dismissing the Packers at all. Like quarterbacks been playing hot. Their defense has been playing very well. The Vikings are going to have to be on their A game in this game to win. And luckily, we're going in about as healthy as it. For people like, oh well, this is just kind of a house money season, and we're going to have J.J. McCarthy era starting next year, and we're going to have all this cap space and blah 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 blah. We're about as healthy a team as you can possibly be in going into week 17. Obviously we've got a couple of the guys out for the season, but we're getting Ivan Pace back this week. We got Harrison Smith coming back in there. Nobody significant who's going to miss due to injury. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. A lot of times it's been the other way, and we've seen it. We've seen a few seasons where it's been the other way, where we're just ravaged by injuries, including last year. That's why people are like, oh, Vikings and Packers always split. Well, last year we started Jaron Hall in the second game, and he was pissing down his fucking jersey leg. So that, I don't know what that means, but we do tend to split. It seems to be pretty rare that there's a sweep. I think we haven't swept Green Bay since 17 probably, and of course that was who the hell were we? Was it Brett Huntley was the QB in the second game? It's pretty rare, but I mean, it's all there right in front of them still for the Vikings. We win against Packers tomorrow, and we are playing for the NFC North title and the number one seed in the NFC next week in Detroit. It won't matter what Detroit does, and I believe if we lose this game, it also won't really matter what Detroit does because. Actually, it will matter what Detroit does. Detroit will have to win still, because technically, if we both lose, then it's the same rules apply next week. So I think Philadelphia might be out of it for the one seed. I'm not totally sure on that. I mean, there might be like a thing where we would have to tie in week 18 or something for them to get it. But and what they're playing, I think they're hosting Dallas. Because that game got flexed. This Vikings game was originally supposed to be a nooner, and then a few days ago they flexed it to 3:25. I don't like these afternoon ones. I hate it. It consumes the day. I wish it was noon, because then it wouldn't consume the day. I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to pick the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to be able to do this and get this win. It's going to be tough. I mean, we make them tough even when they shouldn't be tough. This will be tough on merit. Okay, little interruption there. As I was saying, like the Vikings are going to have to play their A game. They can't play one of these games like they play some of these weeks where, they kind of sleepwalk through the first half. If they sleepwalk through the first half tomorrow, they're going to be down multiple touchdowns. They have to play mistake free. We can't, obviously Darnold, the turnovers have mostly vanished from him for like about 5-6 weeks now. We got to have a clean game from him. Big game from JJ. Jair Alexander is ducking JJ again. Don't let anyone tell you differently. We got to have the run game. Obviously, Aaron Jones going up against his former team again. They've been running the ball very well lately with Jacobs. And obviously their defense has been very good. Our defense has been a lot of bend but don't break at times. We get key turnovers, but you can't always count on the turnovers. You're going to have to beat them in 4 downs sometimes. And I think the Vikings will do this. I think they will. I think they're going to rise to the occasion in potentially the last home game for the whole season. I think they're going to rise to the occasion and get this done. I think it's going to be a classic type of game. I think it's going to be like a 34-31 type of game. I think this is going to be, this could be a game that gets remembered for many years. But of course, we got the big and even potentially bigger one next week. So, it's all right there. They still can do this. They still can go get the North and the 1 seed if they keep winning. I think also a win, it might already be clinched. I'm not sure. Another win, they win tomorrow. I think you clinch like the worst case scenario is you're the 5 seed going to face probably either Atlanta or Tampa Bay, depending on what ends up happening in that division. But I mean, now that this is a reality, it's here in front of you. You got a clear path to it. Win out, you get the 1 seed. I think anything less than that's going to feel disappointing, and it's going to. And I know we're kind of having a house money season here, but it kind of isn't that anymore. Because when you have this opportunity, it's not just, oh well, we've exceeded expectations, so if we don't do anything great, it's going to be okay. No, I don't think that anymore. I might have thought that a month ago. I don't think that anymore. This is a month ago I might have been thinking, well, we're not going to win the division, but we can get a high wild card and maybe win a road playoff game or something and see where we go from there. And I still think we could do that. But now if that's what only thing we do, when we have this opportunity in front of us, it's going to be very disappointing. And I mean, again, I wish we could clinch something this week, but we win. A win just keeps us on the path to the 1 seed. It doesn't clinch anything. I don't know what Detroit would do. I mean, Detroit would have a meaningless game Monday night at the 49ers. 49ers are eliminated. They're decimated by injuries. I don't know what kind of game that would even be. I don't know if they would rest anybody. It doesn't seem like Dan Campbell would rest anybody. He didn't rest guys last game of the season playing us. So he probably wouldn't do that. But either way, we win. It's for everything in Week 18. Detroit probably getting flexed to Sunday Night Football too. Would probably be the last game of the regular season. And then if we win that, or even if we don't win that, then we have the pressure cooker of the playoffs starting the very next week. So there are not going to be any stress-free game days left for Vikings fans this year. They're gone. The next stress-free Vikings game is going to be next preseason. Every game is going to be just nerve-wracking, and but again, I think I've said it in almost every Vikings video I've done for the last couple months. Who expected this? I expected a non-playoff season. Most people did, whether they admit it or not. There's a lot of revisionist history going on. We're like, oh, how could you doubt the Vikings? Of course they were going to do this. Well, no, you didn't think that. You thought maybe they could sneak in as a wild card or something. We didn't see this happening. So I wasn't expecting these games at the end of the season. I thought, when you saw the schedule come out, I was like, well, maybe we can play some spoiler for the end of the season. well, we could do that. We can spoil things. I mean, Green Bay is not going to be hurt too much. I mean, Green Bay might even be locked in to like 6th seed at best at this point. I'm not totally sure because if they won out and we lost out, we'd be tied with them head to head, and I think division would be the same. But I don't know because I think Green Bay's got the Bears. Then last week, and the Bears, wow, they just keep losing. Their plan to take the North back and never give it back is not working out. Um, but so this is a much bigger game for the Vikings. I know because I'm almost positive Green Bay. Oh yeah, of course Green Bay could not possibly win the division because they lost twice to Detroit already. So Green Bay's looking to come in here and kind of screw up our situation. All the Lions fans are going to be Packer fans this week. All the pressure's on us, but if we win, all the pressure next week goes on Detroit, and that's the truth. All the pressure will be on Detroit because Detroit was anointed. They were going to win the Super Bowl. They were going to run through the whole NFC, win the Super Bowl. Nothing can stop them, and wouldn't it be something if slinging Sammy Darnold in the Minnesota Vikings came through and upset the narrative a little bit? I love that. I love it when the media has just decided that something's going to happen, and then someone comes up and screws that up for them. And why can't it be us? And we'll have that opportunity if we just beat the Packers tomorrow, which I think we will do 34-31. I expect a big game from our big guys. I think this is. I know we've seen a lot of instances through many regimes, many years of Vikings getting some of these big games late in the season, and they kind of pull a no-show. I mean, I don't know. This team doesn't feel like a team that is gonna suffer that fate. I mean, we've had a couple of games, even against the Packers late in seasons where these games matter and we just get blown out. Again, I think some of it is kind of circumstantial. Like people are like, oh, we split for like 4 years in a row. Well, one of those games was started by Sean Mannion. One of the games was started by Jaron Hall. There was another one where I think it was at the end of 22 where we had already clinched our playoff position and we had absolutely nothing to play for. We got blown out, but it didn't really affect anything. So, I think this team is going to rise to the occasion. They've been they haven't had like too many signature wins. I mean, I think the wins they had early in the year when they beat, Houston and San Francisco convincingly, those are really good wins because of what those teams were then. Houston's fallen off. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but they've fallen off in a big way. San Francisco's been destroyed by injuries. And then obviously we won in Green Bay. We've got a good collection of wins because it's not just about the records; it's when you play them. Like Green Bay got to play the Rams when they were all hurt. We had to play the Rams at full strength. So anyway, talking too long. Fuck the Packers, go Vikings, and let's set up a Week 18 for the ages.